Imagine living your life after 50 and feeling energized and excited about your future. Welcome to the Women in the Middle podcast, the podcast for women who are ready to figure out what they want and create the life they deserve. Here's your host and master certified life coach, Susie Rosenstein.
Hey there, today's episode is all about my favorite midlife clarity hack to help you get unstuck. It's called What First, Then How. Let's go. Welcome back to the podcast Women in the Middle. I'm your host, Susie Rosenstein, your master certified coach and midlife mentor, and I am so glad to be here with you again for this week's episode, which is about giving yourself the gift of clarity by using a strategy that I love coaching on because it delivers powerful results. I called this episode, What First Then How, a midlife clarity hack to help you get unstuck. And that's what we're going to do. This episode is for you if you find that you end up in a confusing spin often when you're trying to make a decision, or if you notice that you say you just don't know what you want to do a lot, or even that you just aren't super happy and maybe feeling unclear about what you actually do want. So if any of these sound like you, stay tuned because we're going to be taking a deep dive into why getting clear on what you want should come first and how this simple mindset shift can help you get unstuck in midlife. And I am really looking forward to talking about this with you because this really is a solid strategy that I've been using forever and my clients get great results. And now that I've been working with midlife gals for about 10 years or so, I've coached on priorities, planning, accountability, and confidence and courage to go after your goals like hundreds of times. And I see where the blocks are, where people get stuck, and what works best to make progress. So that's why this episode, I'm pretty sure, is going to resonate with you. Okay, but just quick, I have a free gift and I want to tell you about it. It's perfect for you when you think you might need a change or you're curious about feeling stuck, but you're just not sure what to do or where to go next to make things happen in your life. It's super helpful because you will discover the top 12 obvious signs that you're ready for an exciting change in midlife. You're going to learn why you're not doing what it is that you really want to do. You're going to understand why it's important to think about what you want and making that exciting change. And you're going to learn how to make sure you take the next steps to regret-proof your life. So many of us feel stuck and confused, but don't know if making the change is the answer or not. The first step is understanding what's going on and why you're feeling the way that you do. No one should waste their valuable time on this planet being afraid of having regrets. This free guide is called The 12 Obvious Signs You're Ready for an Exciting Change in Midlife, and it is waiting for you at www.susierosenstein.com/12 signs. You can download it there. Please enjoy. Okay, now let's dive into this week's episode, What First and Then How, the midlife clarity hack to get unstuck. Let's get started with this question. Have you ever felt paralyzed because you didn't know how to make the changes you crave in your next chapter? Like super stuck? It can feel so overwhelming, and you might experience those ideas, excuses, a narrative, challenges coming at you a mile a minute. Today, you're going to learn a small but powerful hack to move forward with clarity, ease, and energy instead of overwhelm. That sounds pretty good, right? It's the opposite of spinning and staying stuck. As I mentioned earlier, over the years, I've seen a common pattern with the midlife gals, and that includes me. The common trap that keeps so many of us stuck is related to a planning pattern. I think you would agree that women over 50 and 60 are natural planners, natural problem solvers. In fact, it's kind of like we're professional planners. I've even talked about this before in an earlier episode, number 379, called Becoming Your Own Professional Planner for Midlife and Beyond. And of course, I will link that in the show notes. But what do you think? Do you think of yourself as a natural planner? I think it's related to decades of project management experience with our families, jobs, careers, homes, gardens, like everything. If you're like me, and so many gals, you get a fun idea and you quickly jump to thinking, how will this work best? Oh, that won't work, but this idea, well, oh no, that's too complicated. But maybe this tweak, and so on. Lots of focus on moving your idea forward. The thing is, though, that jumping to how you're going to do the thing too quickly can become a problem. And your mind probably goes there in an instant like immediately after an idea pops into your head. For example, you might think about taking a 6-week vacation, but then immediately also start thinking that it's too hard, it's too much, it's too indulgent, it's too scary. And the result is that your idea is squished, or that you love the idea of painting again. But then in an instant, you're also thinking, but I'm not creative. Getting it all set up is going to cost too much. Oh, geez, I don't have a good space to paint. What will people say about me and my art? I'm not good enough. And the result is that your idea is squished. You might be in a spin of confusion or not be able to make a decision, or you might feel like super stuck or overwhelmed. Like I said, the idea is squished or shelved, or even worse, extinguished, like it just goes away. Not fun, right? So that's a common pattern that I see. And I would say that this kind of thing becomes a problem. Getting stuck in the phase of the how too early on in the process, before you're rooted in the idea or feel committed to the idea, it can bring up a lot of negative emotions like perhaps overwhelm, doubt, fear, lack of confidence, hesitation, that sort of stuff. Again, not fun. I think of the result as squishing your dreams. You have an idea you're excited about, and before you know it, you squished it. You pushed it down. You made it harder and less fun. That's why I love thinking about the what first, then how strategy as a solid midlife clarity hack. So without further ado, here's what the what first, then how hack is all about. Let me explain exactly what I'm coaching you on. You have to go against your natural urge to figure out how you're going to proceed for now. Instead, here are the 3 steps. First, you have to focus on what you want, no matter how impractical or wacky or out there or hard that it seems. Your desires count. What you want counts. Don't get sucked into proving its worth or value right now. Just allow yourself to want it, whatever it is. Second, be curious. Be curious and firm up your priorities in your mind before thinking about the next steps related to how you're going to proceed. This is so important. So ask yourself a few questions about why it's so important to you. The goal with these prompts is just to understand where the desire fits for you in terms of your priorities, not to justify it, just to understand yourself better. So here are the questions. Why does this matter so much to me? Why do I want this? Have I always wanted this or something like this? Why does this idea make me happy? When I think of myself doing or having this experience or thing, how do I feel? Would I regret not having this thing in my life, this thing or experience? I'll give you an example. This one is one of my examples. You've probably heard me talk about my desire for a screen porch before in several episodes. That is one thing that I want. So when focusing on the what first, I'm not going to think about price or any of the other decisions that would have to be made along the way. I'm just going to be curious about why I want it. So here, I'm going to go through the prompts, the questions, and I'm going to give you my short answers for them. Why does this screen porch matter so much to me? Well, I'm a bit of a homebody. I work at home too. I'm home a lot. And I also love nature. So having a screen porch to me seems like a natural blend. Why do I want this? Well, I love bringing the outdoors in, the sound of a fountain, the birds, the plants, all of it. Have I always wanted this or something like this? Yes, it's come up before. In our last house, we had a sunroom that I loved. We had fountains in there too, 2 of them. We also had a dining tent when we went camping that was huge and fabulous. Like it was the biggest one at every campsite. Everybody asked us where we got it. It was so tall and easy to put up, and you could really set it up just right and spend a lot of time in there comfortably. Why does this idea make me happy? Well, it's bug-free heaven. It feels like you're outside more because you can go out earlier in the year and later in the year, when the weather's not perfect. The lighting's great too. So it's a great place to paint, do art, be creative, and read. So to me, it just extends that outdoor time and it brings you closer to nature because there's screens. You can hear what's going on. When I think of myself doing or having this experience or thing, how do I feel? Well, I feel uplifted, happy, content, relaxed. Would I regret not having this in my life? Yeah, I would. I would create other ways to bring the outdoors in. And I've already started doing this because I don't have a screen porch yet. So working on this kind of thinking helped me. It kind of freed me up to bring the outdoors in now in lots of creative ways. And when I rent something like an Airbnb or a hotel, I always think about how can I bring the outdoors in, or what kind of outdoor activities are readily accessible. And in the house here, I have a ton of plants, and I have a hydroponics little garden in my kitchen. See what I mean? These questions help you drill down, and it makes it clear to me that my love of nature is a priority. That's a priority, and that is really good to know, because you'll see more of it and it will help you make decisions going forward. Then third, strengthen your core. So far we've got 1, focus on what you want, 2, be curious, and 3, strengthen your core. Now that you've identified your priority and more priorities, as I mentioned, as the more comfortable you get allowing yourself to want things just because, you're going to see what your priorities are with more clarity. So now that you've identified this, shift your thoughts about your priorities from being optional to foundational. Your core priorities. What's really important to you? I like to think of this phase as cinder blocks of your home. I don't know where you live and if where you live you have cinder blocks. I don't know. I don't know anything about how they make houses, but it's like the foundation. I remember cinder blocks as a kid. And sometimes they even make fences out of cinder blocks. So I have this in my mind. But the way that you think about your priorities, make it solid. It's a foundation, like a foundation of a house. So they won't be squished. Can't squish a cinder block. It's a critical mindset shift. For example, instead of thinking about the screen porch like this, like I usually think about it, a screen porch seems like a huge, expensive project. I might decide to think about it differently in a way that helps me feel more strongly about it because it's a priority, something like this. I'm excited to figure out how I'm going to enjoy my screen porch idea. Notice, I don't have all the answers or a timeline, but my desire is solid. And my desire is so solid that it can inform other parts of my life. So to review, the what first, then how hack has 3 key steps. 1, focus on what you want, not how you're going to make it happen. 2, be curious. Ask yourself questions to understand why it's a desire for you. And 3, strengthen your core. Embrace that it's a priority and it's foundational. Now here's why the what first, then how hack works. As you can see and maybe imagine, it helps you get more clear about your desire and more comfortable with your desire. Like you get settled. You settle into what it is that you want. Did you know that a super common regret for people is that they didn't allow themselves to be happy? Think about that. That's why you have to get comfortable with your desire. That's scary, right? I also think that it kickstarts your excitement about your ideas, your wishes, and your desires. You get clear, comfortable, and excited. And then one of the reasons that this hack is so powerful is that it stops self-sabotage before it starts. You don't let the squishing begin because you haven't even opened the door yet to phase 2, the how. You haven't gone there. You're simply marinating in the what and getting good and comfortable as a priority in your life. One more thing, it helps you focus, which as a midlife gal who probably loves squirrels, you know how challenging focus can be. It helps you help your brain by giving it clarity. You give yourself a clear problem or target to hone in on, and you set yourself up for creatively solving for it later. When you think about it, it makes no sense to get in your own way when it comes to being more intentional about what you want in midlife. But we've been behaving like this for years, and it's kind of become automatic for us. So now with greater awareness, you can improve your strategy for creating what you want. Now let's talk about the second half of the hack, the how. Once you're solid with the foundation of why this thing or experience is so important to you, like really, really settled in with it, like you're cool with it, it's going to be part of your life. It is part of your life. Then you can start to focus on the how. What you want is safe. It's foundational, like that cinder block. This mindset and process makes it easier for you to be creative and solve a challenge or a problem, to push it out and make it happen. Your brain loves to solve problems, and you've made it easier. You essentially got out of your own way. The question isn't about whether or not you can create the thing. No, it's about how you will create the thing in your life. You see what I mean? It's squish proof. You start to creatively think about asking better questions to help you figure it out. And your brain likes that sort of stuff. And once you practice it, it's kind of like, you know how sometimes you work things out in your sleep or when you're in the shower or when you're in flow, you're on a walk, you're painting, you're crocheting, you're doing whatever. That's what starts to happen. It becomes squish proof. It's about how you will create the thing in your life, not if. And it could be a different version of it, right? It may not be exactly how you originally came to it, but that's why it's so important to focus on the priority. It's kind of like you kick it up a notch. So you have the thing that's really important for you, but you also understand at a high level why it's important. So sometimes you may have to tweak a little bit, but it's still in that bucket of that priority. So for me, it's not about whether or not I'll have a screen porch in my life someday. It's more about how I will be bringing nature into my life and my home more and more, and how I will continue to explore how to have a screen porch or something that accomplishes the same goal in my life. Not if, but how. I'm thinking back to some of my clients and how the what first, then how hack worked for them. I'm remembering back to several clients who knew they wanted to leave their jobs, but weren't sure how they were going to do it. So they focused on what they wanted first. They drilled down. One wanted to be an entrepreneur. One wanted to do something similar, but different. One wanted to go back to school. One wanted to claim space in her house, like to reimagine a space so she could have a room that was hers for art. A couple of clients wanted to retire. And for each of them, they focused on the high-level desire without worrying about the details first. If you worry about those details, you might squish your dreams. The details aren't important at the beginning, but making the desire foundational is. And they eventually got ready for phase 2, the how. They each decided to do a little research and get more informed about options. They looked at the timing options for the change and so on, but they kept asking their brain to be open and curious and didn't squish the dream. Other clients struggled with allowing themselves to want what they wanted. That's very uncomfortable for so many people. And I experienced that too in my life. Maybe you think your idea or desire is too expensive or too complicated because of your family and or pet obligations. I would love to get out of the cold winter at some point and go someplace warm for a couple of months. I want that to be in my future. And it seems impossible right now, but I'm getting super comfortable with the desire. So much so that I know it's going to happen. I talk about it as if it's going to happen, and I don't have any of the details. And that's okay. I'm good with it. It's foundational. Thinking about the how too early can close down your curiosity, confidence, and excitement. You gotta allow yourself to be cool with what you want first. Don't rush this phase, even though you want to. Now, you may have realized that there's another theme coming up a lot here. It's giving yourself permission to dream, even now at your age. Imagine what it would be like for you if you believed that wanting what you want isn't selfish, but rather strategic for self-care and for your ability to live an intentional life. What if you believed that regret-proofing your life was the highest form of self-care, as well as important role modeling for those around you? What if you believe that you owe it to yourself to take this kind of thing seriously because if you don't do it, nobody will do it for you? What if you believe that you deserved and are allowed to want whatever it is just because? All I can say is that I think it's universal that you will regret having regrets. The What First Then How Midlife Hack is one strategy to help you avoid regrets and increase the likelihood that you'll be happier and more fulfilled going forward. Who doesn't want to be a happy camper going forward into your ripe old age? Sign me up. My only question is, are you coming with me? And if you need permission, I'm giving it to you right now. If I could see you in person on Zoom, I would grab my little fuzzy wand and give you a boop. Permission granted. Your homework is to shift your mindset about what putting yourself first like this means to you. Getting clear on what you want is kindness to yourself. It's taking care of yourself. It's self-care. It's how you build an exciting, regret-proof next chapter. And if you're ready to take it further, if you're tired of feeling stuck and want support figuring out what you want most, I invite you to book a free momentum call with me to see how I might be able to support you with coaching. There's a lot of custom wiggle room in my coaching program, so we can make sure that you'll uncover your biggest priority and how to move forward. It's an exciting result to create for yourself. So if you're interested, head over to www.talktosusie.com and we'll chat about what might make the most sense for you. Okay, that's it for this episode. Now, as you know, my focus as your midlife coach is to help you waste less time spinning and feeling stuck. This is what regret-proofing your life is all about. Remember, being the queen of your brain domain is the best way to be, and midlife transformation coaching is probably the fastest way to rediscover joy and purpose after 50. And I can help you. This is exactly what we're up to in my Women in the Middle Academy group coaching program. So if you'd like to see if working together is a good fit for you, either in the academy or privately, head over to www.talktosusie.com and book your free momentum call and we will chat. That's www.talktosusie.com. For show notes and links, go to www.susierosenstein.com and click on the podcast tab and look for episode 406. You'll also see a link there for my new show, The Women in the Middle Entrepreneurs, which is all about the reality of running your business when you're a midlife gal. It's also on iTunes, Spotify, and all the places. Let's do this, ladies. It's time for you to put yourself first, one thought at a time. Thanks so much for listening, and I'll talk to you next week.